Hi, I'm Ian, founder of Mosaic, the world's leading AI-enabled deal modeling platform. In this video, I'll walk you through the process of building a leveraged buyout model in Mosaic manually, that is, without the assistance of our AI features, to help illustrate how Mosaic works at a first principles level. Let's dive in. In the Mosaic platform, navigate to the Create button and select LBO. You'll be dropped into an 8-step wizard of the key assumptions underpinning any LBO. First, we'll need a name for this model. Next up, we'll build our forecast. AI plays a big role in automating this step, but as promised, we'll focus on the manual mode for this video. This should also feel the most familiar to those of you who grew up in Excel. But unlike Excel, you're working with row-level data in Mosaic, instead of defining cell-level formulas and adjusting column widths at 3 a.m. The first thing you'll notice in Mosaic is it always starts very simple. Revenue, EBITDA, CapEx, and working capital, the 4 core rows required to get to unlevered free cash flow. We can populate the step-off values for each by keyboard navigation and use simple drivers to model growth and changes in the margin profile for each line. We can also change the driver of each line, affording us more control over forecasted values year to year. Finally, we can build to each of these 4 core lines with as much complexity as desired, either by adding templated elements or by defining custom rows ourselves. Pro tip, hit Ctrl+Shift+ to quickly add new rows to a section, and hit Alt to bring up on-screen shortcuts to reduce your reliance on your mouse as you build detailed operating models. For now, let's set up a 3-segment revenue build, growing at different rates with some EBITDA margin expansion. We'll hold CapEx and net working capital flat as a percentage of revenue. Once we have this initial case out of the way, we can move on to the transaction assumptions for our deal. First up is our entry assumptions. Here we can set what multiple or TEV amount we're assuming for our deal. We can also set up our primary valuation metric that is relevant for this deal, whether it's LTM or NTM, EBITDA, ARR, or whatever other custom metric is relevant for your deal. You'll also see some less impactful assumptions here: cash to balance sheet, minimum cash, transaction fees. Fill them in if you have them, leave them blank if you don't. For deal team members with less experience who are still coming up to speed on some of these concepts, we've built in tooltips that will show up on Hover to help explain each concept and help get people up the curve. Once we're good here, we can move on to our leverage assumptions. Mosaic starts off unlevered and allows you to select whatever tranches of debt or pref you need to fund your deal. For this example, let's add a revolver and a piece of term debt. Now we just need to set the terms of our debt and leave the mechanics of the debt schedule infrastructure to Mosaic. Let's add 1 turn of a revolver facility size, leave it undrawn at close, and price it at S+350. Mosaic will pull in common curves for you to save a data gathering step. We can configure whatever fee rates and other features we desire, and then do the exact same thing for our piece of term debt or any other debt we need for that matter. Once we're satisfied with our debt and equity split, we can move on to the next step. Here, we configure elements of the deal pertaining to common equity, namely the management options plan and whether any co-investors will split up the required total equity check. Next up is taxes, which can be set as simple as a tax rate times the taxable income, or as advanced as required to reflect the tax situation in your firm's geography and for the specific deal you're modeling. This next step is my personal favorite. Mosaic is a constantly expanding suite of special situations or unique value creation levers that may or may not apply to a given deal. Adding something like M&A, dividend recaps, or even an IPO exit is as simple as selecting the relevant item and configuring the incremental assumptions behind them. We'll cover each of these in subsequent videos. Finally, we'll need to pick an exit multiple, define the timing of our exit, and hit calculate. And just like that, we've built out a fully detailed LBO in under 5 minutes. Download it to Excel with working formulas, or hit print on a clean PDF summary and walk into your MD's office. The future of deals analysis is here.